Welcome back. This episode is going to be a little bit different, and so I'll give some background. When we first started the podcast idea, my wife, and I mentioned this in the first episode, she was like, you should do a podcast. Others had mentioned it. They said, you're just standing around telling stories, and folks are like, you should write a book, you should do a podcast. Your stories are so interesting, whatever. My pushback would be, yeah, but what? And so my son is 8, and my wife says, one idea is you and he have such interesting conversations. She enjoys the way we interact. She enjoys just, what dad and son looks like. And so I thought, well, that's a great idea. And it's an awesome idea. The problem is at 8, he's awkward. I mean, I'm awkward on camera too. A lot of people are, but he does that thing where when he gets on camera, when he comes in here, it doesn't capture the authenticity of our conversations out in the wild. And so the episodes that we tried some unboxing of some of this equipment and things like that, they just weren't quite right. And so I think as he gets older and as we practice, they'll get better. And actually, the episode upcoming that you're about to watch, if you hang around, it's a lot of progress. So he and I have filmed this episode. If you choose to watch it, that's awesome. It's different than the everything else because it's, there's no cop work, there's no driving, there's no adult stuff, there's no duty, grit, or grinds. There's just he and I having a conversation. And so the kind of the backstory is his mom and sisters are out of town. Mom's on a trip to visit family down in Utah, and he's been like begging for 3 days and months before that to record. He likes YouTube. He watches YouTube. If you've got young kids, he likes the Prestons and the Unspeakables. He's into the YouTube personalities and video games and things like that, and so he's been really wanting to film some content. And so after 3 days of begging, one day was recovery from Christmas because we were exhausted, so we laid around a lot. One day we had a bunch of errands to run, and so 3 days later, he's like, let's film. And I'm like, all right, buddy, what are we going to, and so the conversation all along was, what are we going to talk about? What's an episode with you and I look like? He said, well, let's talk about football. So another side tangent. We don't watch football around here. We've gone through periods where we've watched some football, but we just don't watch a lot of football. And so I think because our friends who've lived next door have kids his age, and they are good friends, and they watch football and are really into it, and they like the 49ers, which isn't the team to like around here, but that's his team. And so for Christmas, he was just delighted to get a 49ers jersey, like an authentic one that he hasn't taken off since Christmas, actually. Actually, today I decided when it comes off, we're going to have to find a way to clean it, and he's going to have to wear something different tomorrow. It is December 29th. He's had it on it since Christmas morning. And so anyways, I said, buddy, we can't really talk about football. We don't know about football. And I say, what do you know about football? Like, can you carry the episode? And so he talks for a couple minutes and he goes, maybe I don't know as much about football as I thought. He acknowledged that he really likes football, but there's lots to learn. And he and I couldn't film an episode. And so that became the conversation. Like every time it would come up, I'd be like, I'm not trying to like procrastinate here, bud, but what are we going to talk about? And so he had the idea, what about video games in the 1900s? That's how he phrases it, versus what he does today. He plays a ton of Minecraft. He's very good at it. He's very, very intellectual kid. And he also plays a ton of Fortnite, and he's very skilled at that. And so I have an old Nintendo 64 that's hooked to a TV right over here. And recently I plugged it in. It's been unplugged for a long time. And I was playing Star Fox 64, and it must just look like a million years old to him, because he thought, he said, how about a comparison of what I play now, meaning him, versus what we played when we were kids. And it was an idea. And so we watched Lord of the Rings. And when it was over, we came in here and we filmed it. And so appreciate you watching. If you hang around, it's an interview with me and an 8-year-old. At the end, he does most of the interviewing. We talk a little bit about firearm safety because it occurs to me while he's talking about the different weaponry and, taking headshots and things like that in the game. I didn't want anyone to leave the episode with the false idea that we were just careless, reckless rednecks, because we're not. We spend a fair amount of time talking about firearm safety, safe handling of firearms in the home, what to do if you encounter a firearm at a buddy's house. So we are real about firearm safety and safe handling. And so at the end, we kind of jump into that just a little bit, just to throw anyone off the scent that we're just reckless rednecks, because we're not. And we think legit that it's super serious to teach your kids that if you're going to have firearms in the home. And even if you're not, because you never know when they might encounter one out in the wild. And so that's kind of the episode does its thing. It's 30 minutes or so, 25 minutes, I can't remember. And so if you hang around, thanks a lot. And here we go. All right. Well, now on the show, we got Finnegan James. Say hello.
Hello.
Finnegan's been begging to come on the show for
probably like 2 months now.
Yeah, at least 3 days. And so part of the holdup was, hey, bud, what are we going to talk about? And
what he used to do for fun when it was like the old days, and what I do for fun in the new days.
And when you say old days, what do you mean?
Like the 1900s.
Right, the 1900s. Thank you. And what do you, in your mind, what did I do for fun in the 1900s?
You probably did a lot of Legos, and you probably went outside a lot.
What do you think I did?
Is what I want to know is did you still have that swing?
Before we go too far into that, when you say go outside, what kind of stuff do you envision us doing back in the 1900s outside?
Well, there's a lot of stuff you could do, like playing with sticks, and probably doing something fun with Grandpa, like building a quad.
And then, what do you think of the video games that we played back in the 1900s?
What's that shooting game you play a lot called?
Which one's that?
The one that you play?
Which one?
When I was eating the baked beans and you were playing in here.
Oh, Star Fox 64.
Yeah, Star Fox 64 is the one you like to play a lot.
Well, I got that in about 1998 and recently put it back in the Nintendo 64 to play again, and it all came back to me. So, I've played a lot. I've played it like 3 times since Christmas. What kind of games do you play?
So, I like to play Fortnite because that's one of the fun things I get to do. Because not many kids are allowed to play that game. Because some say it's violent.
Okay. What do you like about it?
I like that there's a lot of new things to test out in the new updates. And it's a fun way to hang out with your friends.
What's the premise of the game? What's it all about?
You being in a battle royale.
Tell me about, for anybody who doesn't know what a battle royale is, describe it to me.
It's like a bunch of people going into one place and fighting out.
Like in a building? When you say one place, what do you mean?
It's like I wouldn't say Coliseum.
But like a map.
Yeah, like a map.
Describe the map to me.
So, it's a bunch of POIs,
Don't know what that is.
places. And there's like 35 different of places in the map, and I forget their names.
How does the game determine where you start on the map?
There's a bus that goes out of. So there's a bus flying in the sky, and you jump out of it, and then you get to pick where you drop.
So there's a bus flying in the sky, and you just jump out.
Yeah,
And then you skydive down to the map?
skydive and glider.
Oh, okay. And then you land on the map. And how many other players are there, you say?
99.
So 100 total. And then when you hit the ground, do you start out with weapons or gear of any kind? How do you get those?
You get a pickaxe that does 20 damage, and max health is 200 damage.
So how do you get additional weapons?
So there's chests scattered around the map, and there's different kinds of chests, but I like to land at the train because it has a legendary gun.
What's a legendary gun?
The highest rarity.
Highest rarity.
Yes.
And what does that matter?
It does more damage.
I see.
And it has like scopes and stuff.
Okay. And then what other types of gear can you collect in the game?
Boons, medallions.
What was that? Boons?
Boons are like avatar.
Well, what's an avatar?
Did I just hear you right? Say that again.
What's an avatar?
Water, fire. Water. It's water. Okay, one sec. There's a water boon, there's a fire boon, there's a wind boon, and there's a void boon. 4 boons. And it's like Avatar the Lost Airbender, but they just don't have a void bender.
What do they do? What's the point?
They give you abilities, and there's Oni mask, and there's a fire one that has aimbot, and there's a void one that shoots you around the map, like an ender pearl.
Okay. And so you run around this map at different places. Fighting people. And so
and they're real, unless you're like a really low level.
So these are real
people
playing at their own homes online.
Yes.
And you're all on this map, and you're running around. You encounter people, and you battle it out.
Normally, in a pro match, there's like 5 bots.
Okay. And bots are?
NPCs.
Which is?
Not real players.
Okay. So you're running around, you're fighting these players, and at some point, everybody dies, and you're the last one standing. Is that the deal?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any restraints on the game what happens if there's 2 people on this giant map that had 100 people, and they're each on different sides of the map? How do they even find each other?
Go to the other side of the map.
I know, but how do you even know there's anybody there? So you
just scatter around.
Okay, so you're just running around, and
yeah.
Does the game do anything to force players together, or is it just like
storms?
What's a storm?
There's this big circle, and if you go into it, you take damage, and you have 200 damage. But you have health and you have shields. 100 health, 100 shields. And if you go into it, you lose health.
So when you say circle, you're talking about on the map?
Perfect circle.
So there's a perfect circle. Does it start out like the full size of the map?
More.
Or thereabouts?
Bigger.
Bigger. And then it slowly constrains?
Yeah.
Does it
Until it's like really small, like this big.
And does it always constrain to the same location or different locations on the map?
Different locations on the map every round.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then, so the map can slowly get smaller and smaller. And
it doesn't dissolve the stuff. You can still go into the storm. There's a 1 tick, there's a 3 tick, and there's a 5 tick.
Explain that to me. At
the 1 tick, it's first 3 storms, 3 tick. then it goes to 5, and then the rest of the storms after 5 is a 5 tick.
Okay. And so, about how often would you say you win? Is it a big deal, or is it just
10% chance.
Well, it's technically a 1% chance.
5.
No, 1 out of 100 is 1%.
Oh, wait. It would be a 10% chance because it's pretty often that you win.
So you're saying, let's say you play a few hours today. Did you win today? Did you play today?
I won today.
Did you? So you played today.
Yes.
Okay. And you won today. Did you win yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. So, is that because you're good, or because the game allows?
Mostly because I'm good.
Okay. Humble too. So, okay. Well, tell me more about the game. What else? What else, if someone didn't know about the game, would they find interesting?
So, if they don't know what the game is, like, they start out really bad, like I did, and then they slowly, it's like, you start at 1, then you go to 200.
What do you mean 200?
So, like, you start at 1, really bad, and then you slowly get good until you get up to best.
You're speaking like level ups for your character?
Level ups, yes.
Does that get you anything?
It gets you, if you buy the battle pass, it gets you skins, but if you don't, you get 2 things every page. Last page, 4 things. And then if you don't buy the battle pass, you get, there's no bonus rewards. And if you buy the battle pass, there's a bunch of bonus rewards. And if you buy the battle pass this season, chapter 6, you get Godzilla. But you have to wait until January 17th.
What's a battle pass?
A battle pass is where, like, you know how you mentioned you have to level up? When you level up more, you get more stuff. Let's say you get to level 50. That's the point where you get, like, Diago. That's a skin. And then when you get to level, like, 74, that's when you get Baymax.
So leveling up gets you
Skins. And,
skins.
There's Lego Fortnite, there's a Lego Pass, there's Music Pass, no, Lego Pass, Normal Pass, Music Pass, and OG Pass.
OG pass, okay.
Like Chapter 1 Pass, but it's not everything.
So how do you get the battle pass?
So you can either ask your dad for 1,000 V-Bucks,
Okay.
or you can grind a lot to get V-Bucks from the battle pass.
When you say grind.
Grind means playing a lot and doing it really good. I've told you that like a million times.
Yeah, but remember, you're not telling me a story. You're telling anybody who may not know, right?
Those people.
Right. Right. Because you and I have talked about this a lot, although I don't play. I've heard you go on and on about it. So you get V-Bucks
From the battle pass.
And how much does 1,000 V-Bucks cost?
$8 or $9. $8
or $9.
I'm pretty sure it's 9.
And just so I get this straight, you don't even get any guns in this battle pass or access to additional
No, you have to
weapons.
get the guns.
Right.
In the game.
But the battle pass doesn't get you any weaponry. It doesn't make you better equipped to play. It just gives you different outfits.
Sort of, yeah.
So for $7 or $8, you can get different clothes to wear on the field of battle. But it doesn't make you better at all.
It's to scare people so
tracking
they
that?
run away, and then you can just kill them from the back.
Does that
because
ever
if
happen?
you have a really good skin, we'll scare them because they'll be like, "Oh, that guy has the best skin in the game. I better run." So then you can get them from the back.
Do you think that actually works? Have you ever seen someone with a scary skin and been like, "Oh man," and ran off?
No.
No.
I killed them. But one time I have a pretty OG skin, and it's called the Renegade Raider. And today, actually, when I was fighting Shogun X, a boss, they saw me and they ran away, and I sniped them from the back. And they had the Veiled Precision SMG.
Okay.
Submachine rifle. No, submachine gun.
All right. Tell me about some of the weapons in the game. What's your favorite?
My favorite is the legendary hollow and the hollow twister enchanted.
What's that do? What type of weapon is it?
AR. Assault rifle.
Okay. And what is it about that weapon that you prefer in your...
It does a lot of damage in the head. I'm pretty sure it does like 50 damage in the head.
Yeah.
And if you grab a suppressed pistol, it only does like 10 damage. Less than a pickaxe.
All right.
But if you get a bunch of suppressed pistols, like 5, you can go...
Interesting. Okay. Anything else you want to add about Fortnite?
You won your first game you played.
I did. My first and one of my only games. I won. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything else you'd like to add on Fortnite?
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
very fun and cool.
Okay. So
It's been out since I was born, 2016.
all right.
Wait, no. 20... Pretty sure it's like 2018. 2018.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. So just shifting gears for a minute here. So you talked a lot about the weaponry in the game and the fantasy land of Fortnite. Tell me a little about, we're shifting gears completely. Tell me a little bit about conversations you've had in the house about firearm safety in the real world. Tell me about the conversations we've
Not
had.
touching guns without permission.
Tell me about that.
If you touch a gun and you don't have permission, you don't know if it's loaded. Well, it's never loaded because that'd be extremely dangerous. That's why my dad keeps his stuff in a safe.
Yeah, right. Just tell me a little bit about the conversations we've had if you encounter a firearm. Say you're at a friend's house and you see a pistol on the kitchen counter. What have we talked about doing?
Going to find the homeowner.
Yeah, or who else? Or what else can you do? Just generally.
Don't touch it.
That's a good point. And so you said go get the homeowner. Who else could you tell?
Who else could I tell? The kids not to touch it.
Yeah, right. That's a good one too. And you could you call home and be like, hey, I don't know what to do. There's this gun here.
Like, let's say there's a gun right here, and I'm at a party with my friend.
No, I mean, you don't go to parties. You're 8 years old. But
Go to birthday parties.
okay, so yeah, with parents. So, I was just asking you to clarify. Like you said, tell someone that's home, but you could also call your home and say, "Hey, Dad, I don't know what to do. There's this thing here." Right. So you covered the bases. Don't touch it. Tell your buddy not to touch it. Stuff like that. Okay. So what if you come across, say we get home from hunting or going out shooting and there's a rifle leaning against the kitchen counter and you come home from school. Same rules?
Same rules.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tell me about it.
You see a rifle on the kitchen counter. First, go find anything to call your dad and say, "Hey, Dad, there's a rifle on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
Do you want me to move it?"
And the truth is, if that was the situation, hopefully I'd be home, right? You just have to track me down at the house.
Yeah.
But the key is, guns aren't toys. We
Guns
don't play
aren't
with
toys.
guns. Yeah. Like we know there's a big difference between the colorful images on Fortnite and the real dangers that firearms
Yeah.
can present if you use them improperly, right? Right?
I would say if you see an assault rifle, Don't touch it.
Well, we're talking any firearm
gun.
in the wrong hands, right? So, I mean, all guns are inanimate inherently, right? So a gun on the counter is harmless. It's the person who makes the bad decision to use it carelessly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why things like we're talking about, where you don't touch it, tell a parent, steer clear of it, things like that.
Don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah. So just worth mentioning that, you understand there's a big difference between the
Toy gun.
the images on a
And
video
Fortnite.
game and kind of the graphic nature of Fortnite and reality, right?
Dad, can you talk a little about of your old game?
Star Fox? Sure. Star Fox 64 came out in 1997.
You said 8.
I think I got it in 1998, maybe 1997. And it was so Nintendo 64 was like cutting edge.
Yeah.
Everyone
That
got
was
it.
new. Like,
You want me to tell a story? Or you're going to tell a story. So in 1997, 98, right in there, I can't remember which, I get the Nintendo 64 as a family gift. So with the siblings, and we got a handful of games, and took turns playing it. And this video game system was cutting edge. So Super Nintendo had been out for a while, although I never had one. I had the NES, the original Nintendo. And so when Nintendo 64 came out, it's like it doing its best to be 3D graphics. Bond 007's on there. Mario Kart is on there, and Star Fox 64. Many other games. There was a Super Mario game as well. And again, like cutting edge 3D graphics. And we thought it was like peak graphics at the time, because it's like polygons glued together. Yeah. So Star Fox 64, it ends up being kind of my favorite game for a while. And I didn't realize there were multiple routes through the star map. And so when you just play the game, if you beat each level, it naturally takes you around the right side of the galaxy. And what I learned, because there's no internet, through whatever word of mouth, is that if you meet certain objectives in the levels, you take harder routes. And so a person I hadn't met but would become a very good friend of mine is sitting near me in 11th grade history class. And we start talking about Star Fox 64, and I don't know how it ended up coming up. And he says, well, if you meet such and such objectives in the first level, you go down the left side of the map. And so, of course, I went home, I tried it, and the game was really fun. And so it's a good game. So when I plugged the Nintendo in a couple weeks ago, it was one of the first games I played.
did you ever share that device with Jamie?
It was Jamie, of course, is my sister, 1 year younger. It was a family gift, and so she was included in that. She did not play it. Like, she just wasn't interested in it like I was. So yes, but no. Well,
when was what time did you get that Star Wars game?
Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, was the same gift.
Did it come with it?
It didn't come with the system, but I got it. We got several games to go with the system as a family gift for Christmas that year. So it was a game that was specifically like I unwrapped that game. That was my game, and so pretty challenging game. Playing it back now, the graphics are, they're Nintendo 64 graphics. The replayability is not great, but it's a Star Wars game, so it's still fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever mentioned in any of the episodes how big of a Star Wars fan you are?
No, but I do enjoy Star Wars, and I don't know what else to say to that. Recently, your mom started watching Star Wars for the first time in her whole life, and so that's been kind of exciting to watch her not just watch it, but enjoy it, yeah, and like want to continue watching episodes. So that's been really fun.
Yeah. Has she watched the one in the volcano?
You're referring to Revenge of the Sith. Yes, she did. Tragic episode of Star Wars. Anakin's
Very popular.
It's a very good movie. I think one of the best. Anakin's, final descent into the dark side. Darth Vader emerges. Very, very tragic. Order 66. Clones wipe out the Jedi Temple along with all the Jedi. So yeah, super tragic. Mm-hmm. Well, Bud, I think that's good for now.
Yeah.
It's been fun talking with you about video games and Star Wars and Fortnite. So, any final words?
Nah.
Do you want to close it?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for watching. If you hung around to the end and you saw some spark of something in that episode that you would like to see more of, if you just feel like you cannot get enough Finnegan and have some ideas on what else we can talk about, or you'd love to see him come back on the show, leave a comment, send us a message. Love to hear from you. And on that note, anything else you want to talk about, or rather you want to hear talked about on the show, man, we would just love to hear it, because we are having a lot of fun filming. I'm having a ton of fun creating stuff, but I really would like to talk about things people want to hear about. And so if you loved hearing from Finnegan, or if you loved hearing from any of the previous guests and you are still listening somehow right now, send a comment, send a message, tell your friends, let us know what you want to hear about, and we can, see what we can do. So thanks for watching.